Well, the Albanese government was planning to trumpet two surpluses this election campaign, but that isn't going to work because the budget is likely to show a string of deficits and the extent of Labor's cash splash. For more on this, I'm joined by the Australian's contributing economics editor, Judith Sloan. Judith, great to see you again. Look, how bad are you expecting the deficits in this budget to be?
Well, hello, Shari. Look, I think the deficit for this financial year is actually going to be slightly smaller than was predicted in the May budget, and my EFO for that matter, because the income tax revenue is just absolutely spurting in because of bracket creep. So we've got, as you know, low unemployment, high employment, and therefore you're getting a lot of revenue from income tax, and also commodity prices. They've softened a little bit, but they've held out. So in many ways, Jim Chalmers is the luckiest treasurer that ever there was. But he's allowed the revenue to burn a hole in his pocket, and he's spent up enormously, like over $100 billion extra in the space of 3 years. Unbelievable. We're now heading to federal government spending of $800 billion. I remember when it used to be $400 billion, so it's absolutely extraordinary.
Well, I was actually going to ask you about both of those points next. So let's show everyone the graphs. Let's show everyone the actual figures here. So this is the personal income tax. So just 3 years ago, there was $255 billion collected by the federal government in personal income tax. So we are all paying 38% more in personal income tax, now $352 billion. And then again, the spending figures that you were just speaking about, 30% rise in federal government spending on average. So Judith Sloan, when you look at how Australia compares with other countries around the world, we have among the highest personal income tax rates globally. Is this, I mean, you know, many people are paying close to 50% of their salary in tax. Do you think this is something that ultimately there should be reform on?
Well, absolutely, but you're not going to get any reform, certainly not in the next month, for example. This is a government that is completely committed to tax and spend. There is no notion of what you'd call fiscal responsibility or seeking to repair the budget. What will happen is that the gross and net government debt will increase. The gross debt's now sort of edging towards the $1 trillion mark. Now, it's interesting that a lot of countries are very bad at this too. But let's think about this. Australia is a small, open economy, so we can actually afford less in terms of being bad at budget management than some of the bigger countries, particularly the US, which has its own currency and numeraire currency. So I think, you know, it was 2019, we were sort of still worried about debt and deficit. Then we kind of forgot about it during COVID, and maybe there was a degree of, there was a reason for that. But now we seem to have never sort of regained the important principles of managing a budget and having some guidelines to guide that.
And you remember when Tony Abbott and Joe Hockey tried to tell us all that there was a budget emergency, and, you know, the situation's so much worse now.